Now, Lebanon says it will extend its ceasefire deal with Israel until mid-February, even though the Israeli military has failed to meet a deadline to withdraw its troops, and 22 people were killed in the south of the country at the weekend. The violence coming as residents tried to return home as Israel was scheduled to pull its troops out. All sides trading blame for the delay in implementing the agreement. And on Friday, Israel said it will keep its troops there for now. Well, we're going to cross live to Beirut to talk to our correspondent, Rawad Taha, who joins us from there. So, Rawad, why then is Lebanon saying it will extend that ceasefire and at the same time saying that Israel is not actually respecting it?
Now, this is the question that everyone here is asking in Lebanon. We know for a fact that Israeli officials have asked for the extension of this ceasefire deal at least 4 days ago in an official messaging that was sent to Lebanon through the Americans. Initially, Lebanon refused to accept that extension. Yesterday, on Sunday morning, which was supposed to be the last day of the 60-day period, we've seen hundreds of people who tried to return to their villages, which were still occupied by the Israeli army. Some of the villages, the Israeli army conducted a very fast withdrawal out of those villages, yet they maintained operational control on a number of villages, mostly located on the eastern side of the border. That's where most of the clashes or the attacks by the Israeli army on Lebanese civilians happened. It is also noteworthy to mention that the scene yesterday was heavily supported through the media arm of Hezbollah and the presence of its parliament members on the ground with the people, as well as its ally Amal movement. So 22 people lost their lives, including one Lebanese armed forces soldier. Yet overnight, we saw a statement coming first from the White House, which clarified that the extension is happening. Shortly afterwards, we saw a statement by the caretaker prime minister who confirmed the report and mentioned that this decision was taken after deep through negotiations with both the president of Lebanon and the speaker of parliament, Nabi Berri. So we're yet to see whether we're going to be seeing more people attempting to reach their villages today, or any other scenes of attacks by the Israeli army on civilians, or the statement and the extension that happened overnight could possibly give room for furthermore negotiations to happen on the mechanism for withdrawal and what were the gaps. Also important is to mention the fact that one key part of that statement is the fact that negotiations on the return of Lebanese prisoners who were captured by Israel during the last war will also start during this period. So it is very possible that that was the breakthrough, that Lebanon would accept an extension of the ceasefire under the condition that negotiations start on the return of Lebanese prisoners in Israel.
So what's your feeling, Rawad, then about how this will go down with the Lebanese people? There does seem to be that juxtaposition, doesn't there, about what's happening and what the ceasefire agreement actually says?
Now, indeed, in particular, there is a lot of polarization in Lebanon when it comes to the terms of that agreement. We know that Hezbollah and its supporters do not mention or approve the fact that the agreement calls for basically only the state is responsible for carrying arms and weapons. That is explicitly mentioned in the agreement, as well as removing any military structures which are not controlled by the Lebanese armed forces. So, in fact, the agreement mentions that the Lebanese state and the Lebanese army and international actors should work together in order to make sure that only the state has control over arms. That is something that even after the agreement came into place, Hezbollah never admitted or approved. So there are two views on what's going on here in Lebanon. The first view is saying that Israel should have withdrawn its forces during the 60-day period, as the agreement mentions, and thus the people of the south have the right to go back to their villages right now. And the second take by the other parties here in Lebanon is that in order for us to make sure that the Israeli withdrawal happen, it is indeed up on the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army to implement the details of that agreement to make sure that Lebanon has stronger negotiating powers when talking to Western allies. That indeed is what the next phase is all about. So, is it a disarmament of Hezbollah south of the Litani River, or it's a disarmament of Hezbollah all over Lebanon?
Rawad, thanks very much. Rawad Taha joining us there live from Beirut.